Today we're going to talk about how to draft an essay. What is the most efficient way to go from the first time you read an assignment to when you're hitting save and sending that essay in for grading. We're going to go over how to break apart the essay, how to create a draft, and how to use that draft to write up a final copy, including sources. So first we're going to take a look at an example assignment. So I want you to read this example assignment. It is not for any particular class. It's a general assignment. And I want you to go through and figure out exactly what they're asking for. So just take a second, read this assignment. We're going to break the assignment down in the next slide. Now we're going to talk about taking that assignment that you just read through and breaking it apart into smaller, more manageable pieces so that you can start to form your outline. Remember, it is very easy to read any assignment and get overwhelmed and not understand how you're going to get from reading the assignment to the final copy. So we're going to take it step by step. This will work with any assignment, no matter how long the assignment is. There are going to be times later on that you may have assignments that are longer and more daunting. So by learning how to do this now, you'll be in good practice for what's to come throughout the rest of your degree. Okay, so step one is to look for keywords. So if you look at this slide, you will see that I have broken apart the assignment and highlighted in red text key aspects of the assignment that we're going to go through individually. What you're going to do with that red font is you're going to use that to make an outline. It is your choice whether you do the outline in just a blank Word document on your computer or if you're doing it by hand on a piece of paper. I always try in the beginning to start with a handwritten document because when you do your outline, you're going to have to go back and add different things in as you're going, so it makes it a little bit easier. But if you want to do a bullet point list in Word, that is completely fine as well. So you're going to go through and you're going to see. So the first part of this assignment is it's asking you to conduct research and prepare an essay on a company that has experienced a crisis. Stop right there. Don't read any further. Let's think about a company that we know has experienced a crisis and has come out on the better end of it. So the best situation for you to do is to pick something that interests you or that you already know about. So let's say Ford. Ford is a humongous company. They had some issues. They had to be bailed out, and now they seem to be successful. So we know them. They're a popular company. We know it off the top of our head. So we've chosen our company. The first thing you want to do, they experienced a crisis. What's the crisis? Explain the crisis. What's going on? How did they get there? This particular paper only has to be 1 to 2 pages, but let's say, you're later in your program, it has to be 5 to 10 pages. This is the part where you can expand on how much information you need. They experienced a crisis. Who, what, where, when, why? How did they get there? You can use that as your first chunk after your introduction to be discussing this company Ford. The next part, it says, thanks to the correct formulating of strategy and efficient decision making. What strategy did they use? What effective decision making? What was their plan? Okay, we're going to implement X, Y, and Z, and that's going to help us move forward and get past this crisis. So here, you just want to talk about what strategies they used. You don't want to go into what the outcomes were. We're going to do that in the next section. You want to keep everything separate. So you're going to go over the strategies. Now, this is something that in your class, you would have been talking about strategies and effective decision-making tactics. You would use the things that you're talking about in the class in this essay. That's the point, right? So you want to include those in this section. The last portion of that is became one of the leading companies in their market. Now you want to talk about the outcomes. Here is what they chose to do, the strategies in section 2. Now we're in section 3. What are the outcomes? How did it work out for them? This is going to make it easier for you to go back in. So you wrote that all down in an outline. Now we're going to talk about putting in sources. First, let's go on to the next slide. Lastly, what you're going to want to do before you start writing your final essay is you're going to want to choose pieces of support to put into your assignment. This isn't an assignment where you're just talking about your past knowledge. You're going to need to support what you're saying with evidence. The way that you do that is by citing sources. So now we're going to look at the outline that you've made as a whole, and we're going to pick pieces of information to put in there that help support what we're already saying. So we talked before about going through your class. This is specifically talking about different strategies in decision making that you can put into this assignment. So go through your class, your readings that you're already doing, put in different tactics about those items, and cite your sources at the end in APA format. If there is a grading rubric, so sometimes you get a grading rubric where it says do this, 10 points, do this, 20 points. Use that as a checklist after you've made your outline. Make sure you have hit all of the key points. And this way, you'll know when you're submitting this assignment that everything that's on that grading rubric is in your assignment. Spending the time to make an outline will make writing your paper easier. It will also help you to focus. So any issues with procrastination, this will help keep you on track. Ideally, what you want to have is an outline so that when you are typing up your paper, you have the outline in front of you, you put it next to you, and you just plow through it because you have everything already outlined. It'll make sure that you're not missing points, and it'll make it a lot easier on you in the long run as well.